night to all. We're gonna begin about 5 minutes before we start, okay? Hope you guys are doing great. Happy to be here and blessing to all, okay? Just a couple of minutes to give some time for people to dial in, okay? Um, Stand by. Good night, you guys. I hope you guys are doing great tonight. So we're gonna start here in a second. Again, good night. I'm gonna be using my reading glasses, so I apologize. But just want to welcome again. Miss you guys. I haven't been able to do a live because of work. I've been super busy at work, but we're here thanks to the grace of God. So if you tune in, put me a comment before I start. Again, good night on this wonderful night, wherever you are. The weather over here in Florida is super awesome over here, and I'm enjoying the weather. It's been a little bit cold in the mornings, but other than that, it's been awesome. This is retired Command Sergeant Major Ed Centeno from Edson Consulting at edson.consultation.com. Again, edson.consultation.com. You can find me on my website, in Facebook, Instagram, and you can shoot me a message. Private message, so I can help you out. The services I offer, I do help with VA claims, military retirement, consultation, specifically with your pay, TSP. I also can help you out with your resumes, And in the future, I'm gonna put a lot of stuff in there, but that's gonna be coming in the future. Okay. Before I forget, thank you for tuning in. I never forget to thank my wife. She's my best sponsor. Love you, honey. And she has her own business. It's called Seven Heaven Boutique. You can find her on Facebook. And we do have a website. We've been so busy we haven't been able to finalize it. It's already running, but it's gonna be coming soon. So stay tuned. We're trying to motivate each other, to keep this thing moving forward. You ask, what is the reason that I do this? I want to help service members out there. I retired with 25 years of service, again as a command sergeant major. One of the reasons I decided to retire was to actually to help service members, because when you're out, you can actually help more. It's too many restrictions while you're in, and be honest, you don't have a lot of time, and they pull you 300 different directions. So that's one of the biggest reasons I got out. And of course, the one more bigger reason was to spend time with my wife and my family, and that was a decision that we made together. So one last thing, since last we talked, what I've been doing, again, I've been working a lot of hours in my civilian job. Since I last talked to you, I have helped 4 service members to submit claims. I'm working in some other ones as I can. Like I said, I'm so busy working. I'm gonna take these things off, and I've been helping out. That's what I like to do, and I hope you guys can understand the reason I do this, to help other service members out there. Again, this information is not sponsored by any U.S. military service member or affiliates. This is completely based on my experience. I am not representing the government. This is me as a person and my personal business. So I'm not representing any government entity, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that. So this is based solely on experience. And you ask, man, what is this guy talking about? Well, I served in the military for 25 years, active and reserve. I do have a lot of experience how the system works. I know there's a lot of businesses out there and a lot of people motivating people to actually to help each other. They have established businesses. I'm doing this mostly to help service members and to help people, because I love to help people. And of course, I want to get something established in the future. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to start inviting people, service members, so they can tell their story and how they were able to develop through their career and actually made it through the ranks. Many different backgrounds, officers, enlisted, warrant officers. So I already have some people that have volunteered, but I haven't got there yet, but it's coming soon. I'm working on that. I'm trying to find some different platforms, and I have to upgrade my system, because I'm telling you, my computer is a little bit slow, and sometimes I have to adjust it, and it's a pain, but I'm working it. So before any further ado, we're gonna talk about 3 topics tonight, and I'm gonna translate in Spanish. So the 3 topics are so important for service members. This is for all components, in special National Guard, Reserve, and actually also for active duty component. And we're gonna talk about a little bit about line of duty determination, also known as LOD. Line of duty investigation that also goes into the LOD, and that's when they assign an officer based on the injury that you have to make sure that injury was legit. And also we're going to talk a little bit about nexus letters. Why are those so important? Because there's so many service members out there that they don't know while they're in service. They have to make sure that they have these things together in case they inquire an injury and they're able to put and submit their VA claim. And that's so important because most service members, one of the things they lack is medical documentation and having nexus to that injury that happened while in service. So that's super important for you to understand, so you can actually have all the documents together and you can actually help yourself. It'll be easier for you to submit a claim and you have all the right and you're entitled to submit your claim. So I'm gonna switch real quick over here to my screen so I can start talking a couple of things here. Um, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the line of duty determination. Actually, you have there the form, but I'm going to just put in here a website while I talk, and I'm reading out of my information here. So again, line of duty determination. What is it? How it can help you to actually to submit a VA claim, and how in the future you have to make sure that you have this documentation to actually to do your VA claim. Okay. So what is it? What is a line of duty determination? A lot of service members understand it or they know it as line of LOD. So the purpose of a LOD is to determine if the condition was incurred, or aggravated during current military service. This includes the who, what, when, where, and why. LOD determination can impact the National Guard or service member, including the reserve members' entitlements and benefits. It is imperative that LODs are accomplished between established timeframes to alleviate any possible delays. I'm not going to talk so much about the process because your unit should be able to help you out, but I'm going to talk about how important it is for you to make sure you understand what this is. Because if not, you will not be able, or it's going to be hard for you to actually to submit a VA claim. So a line of duty determination is an administrative procedure used by the military to determine a member's duty status at the time of injury. So that means that, like a reservist, was he entitled 10 orders, was he in annual training, or for active duty members, of course, they're active component. At the time of the injury, illness, disability, or even death. The LOD decision has a direct bearing on whether or not a service member is eligible for VA benefits. That's how important that is. You have to make sure that you understand what this is. Here's how it works. Under military regulations, the LOD process is required when an active duty service member, or meaning the reservist and National Guard is an active duty, even on IDT while they're doing drilling, okay? Servicemen have illness, injuries, or disease that result in the inability to perform military duties for more than 24 hours. So that is the period. You have an injury and it has to be 24 hours. It's likely to cause permanent disability or result in the death of the service member. The outcome of the line of duty investigation will be one of 4 decisions. The best possible outcome in the line of duty, there is the presumed decision unless the facts show that the service member illness, injury, or death occurred while the individual was absent without authority or caused by that person's misconduct. So you have to understand that this is why the investigation is done. This is what this documentation is prepared. And when we talk about the line of duty investigation, that's what they assign an officer to actually to do the investigation to make sure that that injury happened while in service and it was not negligent for the service member. For example, if you are drinking and driving and you get into an accident, an investigation will be conducted to deem if it was the service member's fault or it was actually an accident. And that's a broad topic, but I'm just talking about how important it is for you to actually to know what a LOD is. There are 3 possible determinations that will mean the service member is ineligible for benefits. The first is existed prior to service. This determination means that there were 1 or more underlying conditions which were present before the member's entry into the military. What that means is if you have an injury or something that happened before and it actually got aggravated while in the service, or if actually the accident or the injury happened while you were in the service. So that's what the investigation do, okay? That's what that determination does, okay? Is a bullet here really important? If you are denied benefits because of an unfavorable LOD determination, you have a one-time right to appeal decision, and you must appeal between 30 days. That's really important for you to understand because you have 30 days from the time of the injury. A lot of service members, I was the first one once, for those first ones out there, and there's so many soldiers that get injured during AT training, annual training, or during battle assemblies. And we as leaders are responsible to make sure the soldier has the proper documentation and we follow through. A lot of times what happens is, talking about reservists and National Guard, the leaders are so busy doing some other stuff that the paperwork somehow get lost and the service member incur a debt in the payment, because once you go to a medical facility, they're gonna charge, but in this case, because it happened on duty, they have to charge the military, not yourself. And that's really important, and I see it happening, and I saw it happen so many times, and it's unfortunate that service members have to go through this. Why does the Army conduct LOD investigations? It protects the interests of the individual soldier. That's one of the things. It protects also the interests of the US government. So they're covering their bases, make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do as leaders. And I'm talking about the leadership of the units. Excuse me. This LOD also documents medical conditions for MEB or PEB processing. I'm talking about medical boards. So that also could start the process of medical board. That's what it's called when a soldier cannot perform their duties anymore because of their duty descriptions or MOS. That's their specialty or their job, and they actually have to get medical discharge, and that's a whole different process, but this is part of that process. Another reason is document service connections for veterans administrations, and that's what I'm talking about tonight. This right here could help you out for you to claim your VA disability. That's how important this is. Disability retirement and severance pay, medical and dental care from the Army Reserve and National Guard, extension of enlistment, and forfeiture of pay. This is the why LOD investigations are completed. What medical situation require an LOD investigation? This is some examples. Hospitalization, injury from motor vehicles accidents, and that happens a lot. Oh, I got a comment. Sir, how you doing? Yeah, good to hear you explain AR 608-4. Yes, sir, that is actually the regulation. I don't want to go really in depth in the regulation. I just want to get an overview. And for those out there, this is a comment from Chuy Camacho. Sir, you're still a captain. I haven't seen you in a while, but he was a captain last time I saw him, one of the units over there in Puerto Rico. He's talking about the regulation that covers the line of duty investigations and all the process. So we can cover that, and that's a regulation. I should have said that at the beginning. And he's doing a great job because he's talking about from the leadership perspective. I am talking about from the point of actually submitting VA claims. I'm already out of the military, but that's a great point, sir, taken. Thank you for your comments, sir. And that is the regulation again, AR 600-8-4. Let me say thanks over here. Great leader out there. Thank you, sir. So continuing with this, this is some of the situations in which you put the LODs. The leadership is so important with this that a lot of times soldiers don't understand how important this is, but the leadership and the full-time staff of the unit are the most that actually deal with this paperwork, and the commander actually has to sign the form. We will talk about the form right here in a second. But the service member responsibility is to ensure this is taken care of. This is not going to happen magically. I always told soldiers when I was a first sergeant, I always said, listen, if you're going to fill out a LOD, here's the medical documentation. Make sure you leave a hard copy in the unit. Make sure you scan it and send it to yourself. And also save it digital somewhere in the computer, in a thumb drive, whatever, because a lot of times this documentation get misplaced. And then before you know, everybody's out of the battle assembly. And before you know, the paperwork got lost somehow, it's chaos, and then the service member actually does the medical paperwork, and that's one of the issues that we have, okay? So again, medical situations require an LOD, some examples, hospitalizations, injury from motor vehicles accidents, fractures, including ankle, finger, wrist, and hands, head injuries, concussions, strains and sprains, neck, back, knee, joint injuries, hip, knee, and shoulders, allergic reactions, bee stings, poison ivy, etc. Another examples are disease, EPTS, conditions directed or requested. All right. So there's two formal LODs. There's an informal LOD. An informal investigation should be performed in cases where the shoulder injury illness is not a result of misconduct or negligence. So this is where informal when it was not the shoulder's fault. Did not happen under doubtful circumstances. Documentation clearly defines the who, what, why, and how of the injuries or illness. And this is usually the one that happens. Formal LOD are injuries, disease, death, or medical conditions that occur under strange or doubtful circumstances, or is apparently due to misconduct or willful negligence. So this is talking about an accident actually that probably happened in purpose. Like I give an example: accidental discharge, and hopefully nobody gets killed. But that's one of the examples. I mean, I don't want to go to the extremes, but that could happen, and it has happened before. And this is why these investigations are so important. I'm gonna put the form, and the form is called a DA form 2173. I did find one online. I could not download it PDF, so bear with me for a second. I'm gonna pop it over here so you can see it. So here's the form, and I'm gonna go over some of the things that is actually statement of medical examination and duty status. So it's pretty much has the true in the unit. It has the bio from the unit. It has the date where the accident information happened. It also here is a part that has to be filled out by the physician. Usually when this happens in the unit, we send the soldiers to a medical facility, to a hospital. If you are in a military base, most military bases, well, I will say every military base has a hospital, or they have an aid station at least. Some military bases are reserved for National Guard, so they don't have a medical facility as big, but they do have some kind of medical facility. So that will be filled out by the physician, and pretty much he says when he was admitted, at what time the injury happened, what was the circumstances where the injury happened, was it temporary, permanent, partial, I mean how bad the injury is, the date. Actually the physician had to sign it, and it's so important for you service members to make sure the physician signed this document. Why? If you go to the hospital and you bring this form and you even forget about it, because I'm telling you 99.9% the leadership did do their job and they gave you this form, and you forget, the physician signs it, you lost it somehow, it's on you. It's not going to be on the leadership. They did their job. It's your responsibility. They usually send you with a battle buddy to make sure you do the right thing, but a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. It's just to emphasize the importance that you have to make sure this is signed by the physician. So we keep going over here. Again, this is just an overview. And at the bottom, at the end right there on block 30, it's talking about details of the accident. And this is pretty much when you put what actually happened in the accident and how it happened. And then at the bottom, that's what the unit commander signs. A lot of times the unit commander signs it before he sends you to the hospital, to the medical facility, to make sure the physician sees that the actual form is legit. So that's pretty much, again, an overview. It's talking about line of duty determination. We'll jump real quick on line of duty investigation, which is comes tied to this. And this is where, again, when a soldier who becomes sick or injured while on active duty or during an excused absence is entitled to certain benefits, including pay and allowances if the shoulder injuries or illness are not the result of the soldier's intentional misconduct or willful negligence. What is our procedures of the line of duty determination? We talked about that. Line of duty investigations, there are three possible outcomes. And this is the three possible outcomes. They are in the line of duty, the soldier was acting properly and not with intentional misconduct. Number two is not in the line of duty due to their own misconduct. And number three is not in the line of duty due to own misconduct. So this is why this form and this process is so important, and this is why an officer is assigned for this investigation. That goes here more in depth on why are the consequences and why and how the accident happened, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about how important this is. So that's pretty much an overview. Again, we talked about the line of duty determination and line of duty investigations. The line of duty investigations actually go tied into the line of duty determination. We talked about a little bit about the form that you have to fill out, the 2173, and that's the documentation you take to the medical facility, and it has to be signed by the physician. The line of duty as a service member, there's not much you can do because the leadership of the unit is the one that actually will take care of that part of the process. But I'm letting you know that that's part of the process, and you have to be well, and you have to have knowledge on how the process works. That's how important that is. So how does this tie into everything with VA claims? Okay, how does this tie with everything? We'll talk about some websites here in a second. Before I transition to Spanish real quick, I'm actually faster on Spanish, and I like to do it because there's a lot of Spanish speakers, especially in Puerto Rico, and even though they do speak English, but a lot of times it's easier for them to understand better in Spanish, okay? So this right here gives you nexus to a injury that happened while in service. What that does is when you get out of the military, either active duty and a deployment from reserve status National Guard, you take this documentation and you make your nexus to your injury. That's how important this is. So once you do that, that's what is called nexus to the injury. So you can determine, or whoever is doing the finalization of the claim actually can say, yes, indeed, this injury happened while in service. And this brings me to nexus letters. Nexus letters are done by medical physicians or doctors. And I'll be honest with you, my experience, a lot of doctors are hesitant to put their signature on a letter while you as a service member is explaining to him or her that something happened to you while in service and he has no documentation. So it's pretty much your word saying this happened to me 10 years ago and I have this injury, and yes, it happened while I was in service. Here's my DD-214. But if you don't have no battle assembly drill attendance roster, you have to be able to show to that doctor that happened while in service. And that's what a nexus letter is. And a nexus letter, this is the definition right here, explains the extent to which a veteran medical condition is connected to their military service. It is written by a qualified healthcare provider and is reviewed in conjunction with other medical documentation to determine the benefits for which you are eligible. And I see a lot of people talking about nexus letters like it's candy. And I know a lot of people are doing this business out there. I'm doing it to help service members out there. And nexus letters are not that easy to get, I'll be honest with you. If you find a good doctor that is willing to help you out, please let me know, especially you in the Florida area, because it is a network that we can all connect and to make sure we can help other veterans out there or service members, because it's not easy as you can think. And that nexus letter, what you do is you submit your VA claim, you put all the documentation together, and you actually have a nexus to that injury. Not all the times when you have an excess letter and you have all the documents in line will your claim be approved. A lot of service members out there get discouraged because of their claim get disapproved or denied at the first time. I've been working on my claim for 10 years, and I have a lot of injuries. I have 2 surgeries in my shoulder. I was on jump status for 10 years in the military. I do have a lot of conditions. Thank God that he still gave me health and the energy to continue to do exercise, but I feel it. I mean, I'll be 47 in December. I'm not complaining, but my point is I do have a lot of medical conditions, and I achieved my 100%. But I do it actually planning it. I do it providing documentation. I did it providing the papers that they need to actually to sustain the claim. And it's not as easy as you think. Excuse me. My point is, do not be discouraged that first time that you submit your claim. Have your documents ready. Have the line of duty determination LODs ready. Have the 2173 ready. Be proactive enough. If you need help, I can help you out to guide you through the process. But it's important for you to understand this. So that's pretty much it. I was gonna give you one example. I just helped coworker. He was an artillery man, 13 Bravo. By the way, my first 5 years I was a 13 Bravo artillery, not an easy job. And he had an accident in the National Guard in Puerto Rico. He had an accident when he was closing the breech of the artillery piece. One of his fingers got caught in the breech, and he actually ended up missing the tip of his finger. We submitted the claim. Well, I helped him to submit the claim. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I helped to prepare the papers, and he submitted. And he got 10%. But my point is that injury happened 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. Because he had the medical documentation. When I look in his record, guess what? He had an LOD in there. 10 years back, he had the 2173 in there. He had the physician sign the form. That's the reason he got his claim approved, and it was easy. If not, he would have to got some statements. He would have to go to another different level to actually to get his disability claim submitted. That's just an example. I'm not gonna talk a lot. I do not talk a lot. I try to do something brief. I like when they put comments, and we can talk about a little bit deeper. Again, the regulation is AR 600-8-4 for those leadership out there that want to get real depth into this stuff. I'm in the other side. I'm more in the helping the service members once they get out. So if you want to read more and actually get more information, there's the regulation. Go in deep, commanders and the first rounds out there, and you should know this information. So without further ado, I do have a couple websites. I found this out, pretty good website, and that's the one that is pop up here. U.S. Army Reserve, and it talks about profile, packets. It has a lot of links there. It talks about the forms. It talks about the LOD. What is it? What is the process? So the Medical Evaluation Board. So it has a lot of good information there. If you need the website, let me know. Again, you can send me a private message on my Facebook. I can help you out a little bit more to understand the process. But that is an awesome website that you can use to actually to gather all the documentation and to get more familiarized with the process. So without further ado, if I don't have any more questions, I will transition to Spanish. I usually a little bit faster in Spanish. So again, if you have any questions, again, thank you so much for listening to letting me join in your house and welcome me in your house. So for further ado, I will start speaking Spanish. Muy buenas noches. Le doy gracias que se conectaron, los que se conectaron, sir. Gracias nuevamente. De verdad que fue un honor siempre servir con usted y de verdad que lo respeto mucho. Y usted sabe que siempre estoy aquí para ayudarle, sir. Yo nunca me he retirado. Ahorita mismo me llamó Morales pidiéndome un favor y le dije, déjame terminar y cuando termine pues lo voy a ayudar. Mi número de teléfono nunca cambia, por eso mismo me gusta ayudar a las personas me gusta ayudar mucho a las personas que tuvieron el servicio, porque es el sacrificio bien grande que tienen que hacer. Estamos hablando de, para introducirme nuevamente, soy el sargento mayor retirado de comando Ed Centeno, me gusta decir para dar una abreviación. Y esta noche estábamos hablando brevemente de lo que es tres cosas: los Line of Duty Determination, que es la determinación de un accidente que pasó mientras estabas en servicio o mientras estabas en drill en la Reserva de la Guardia Nacional. También estábamos hablando de los eventos o la investigación de Line of Duty Investigation, de esto cuando sucede un accidente y asignan a un oficial para asegurarse que ese accidente sí sucedió y que no fue negligencia del soldado. Y también hablamos un poquito de lo que son los Nexus Letters, que esos son cuando un médico, un doctor, escribe una carta adjudicando y diciendo que sí, que este soldado sí estuvo en un accidente y que sí aparentemente sucedió mientras estuvo en servicio. También dije que no es muy fácil conseguir que un doctor te firme esa carta, porque no muchos van a poner su firma en ese documento, porque es un documento legal. Esas son las cosas que estábamos hablando. De verdad que gracias que he hecho en este último, porque hace como 3 semanas, casi un mes que no podía hacer un live. He estado trabajando mucho mi trabajo. Pude disfrutar con mi esposa, fuimos a Miami, la pasamos súper allá, y para coger un poquito más de energía. He ayudado a muchos soldados, he ayudado sobre 4 en estas últimas 3-4 semanas. Estoy trabajando en otra para el viernes. La mayoría, obviamente yo ayudando al soldado, recopilando toda la información y ponérselo todo en una forma que se le haga más fácil para que ellos revisen la aclamación de la discapacidad. Eso es lo que he estado haciendo. Voy a seguir. Mi meta es establecer un programa de podcast donde puedo invitar a personas que están todavía activas para que digan su historia, cómo ayudar a otros oficiales, a otros enlistados a seguir y que sepan el sistema y de cómo ayudárselo unos a los otros. Ese es mi plan, por eso estoy haciendo esto. Tengo mi website, hablé de extinconsultation.com, y me pueden encontrar ahí en Facebook, me pueden enviar un mensaje privado y ahí les puedo ayudar. Ok, vamos a ver qué es lo que se llama el Line of Duty Determination. El Line of Duty Determination es básicamente cuando sucede una condición o un agravante de esa condición durante servicio, o mientras está en servicio. Puede ser reservista de la Guardia Nacional o también activo. Activo es un poquito más diferente, porque usualmente activo el plan médico ya es cubierto. En esta forma no, porque cuando estás en la Guardia Nacional en la Reserva, pues obviamente esta documentación es muy importante, porque se utiliza para que el gobierno pague básicamente el monto de dinero que se va a acumular cuando vayas al hospital, porque créeme, te van a cobrar de alguna manera. Es un proceso administrativo, lo que estamos hablando de Line of Duty, la determinación de Line of Duty, en el cual se determina si la persona sí estuvo en servicio o si también fue negligencia del soldado, para establecer de verdad la legalidad de lo que sucedió. Básicamente lo están haciendo para respaldar al soldado, y también el servicio para respaldarse el mismo, para asegurarse que no hubo negligencia del soldado o negligencia del comando o del liderato, si pasó algo que no pudieron corregir. Una de las cosas que dice a lo último, que si sucedió la investigación de determinación, el Line of Duty Determination, y fue un favorable para el soldado, pues el soldado tiene el derecho de apelar, y lo tiene que hacer en 30 días, para que entonces obviamente su documentación y todo sea nuevamente obviamente adjudicada, y pueda entonces seguir con la investigación y lo pueda utilizar para lo que vamos a hablar más tarde. ¿Por qué se hacen estas investigaciones? Bueno, le dije, para proteger al soldado, para proteger al gobierno, para documentar en el futuro si va a haber lo que se llama una despedida o un medical board, ¿sabe? Un board en el cual el soldado es básicamente desplegado del servicio porque no puede trabajar ya por su discapacidad o el accidente que sucedió en ese momento. También esto sirve para conectar y tener nexus al servicio, y eso es bien importante porque sin nexus al servicio, entonces el departamento de veteranos no ve que de verdad el accidente sucedió mientras estabas en servicio. Eso es una de las razones por qué esto se hace. ¿Por qué algunas situaciones, por qué se hace una investigación de Line of Duty Determination? Hospitalización, accidentes de auto, fracturas incluyendo tobillos, muñecas, manos, también head injuries o cuando uno se lastima la cabeza, uno se cae y se da en la cabeza. Cuando te lastimas el cuello, la espalda, también eso sucede mucho. Los ligamentos, lo que es la cadera, cosas alérgicas que te picaron cuando estás en el field haciendo entrenamiento, pueden ser una abeja, pueden ser una araña, muchas cosas que te pueden hacer daño mientras estás en el field. Hay dos tipos de LODs, está el informal y está el formal. El informal básicamente es cuando el soldado no es resultado de negligencia, y eso es usualmente el que se ve, porque cuando fue negligencia del soldado, pues obviamente no va a ser conveniente para el soldado. Di el ejemplo de si el soldado estaba bebiendo y estaba conduciendo y tiene un accidente. Esto también, por eso es que se asigna a un oficial a hacer la investigación, y eso es bien importante. Y es bien importante también porque algunos accidentes obviamente conllevan condiciones que después pueden tener un agravante, y algunos soldados desafortunadamente pueden perder su vida por ese agravante y porque las condiciones se agravaron durante el transcurso de tiempo. Eso básicamente el Line of Duty Determination. Hablé también de la forma, bien rapidito. Es bien fácil de llenar. La unidad básicamente te ayuda a llenar esta forma, pero las partes más importantes que tiene que asegurarte es que firme cuando vayas a las facilidades médicas, un médico obviamente, y que también que el comandante firme la forma, y que siempre guardes esta forma adjudicada a los papeles médicos que te dieron de la condición o cuáles fueron los resultados, si fueron rayos X, si te rompiste un hueso. Esto es bien importante porque te va a ayudar para someter la solicitud de discapacidad después más tarde. Y hablamos ahí que hay una parte para describir qué pasó en el accidente, y en lo último pues ahí el comandante de la unidad firma, y esa documentación es un proceso donde se envía esta documentación, y ahí es que básicamente que se le paga todos los gastos que incurrieron de la hospitalización, de la visita al médico o a la facilidad de médico. También dijimos que la regulación que cubre esto es el AR 600-8-4. Para aquellos comandantes, aquellos que quieren saber más de esto y primer sargento, es bien importante que sepamos de esta regulación. Eso fue básicamente por encima. También hablé de lo que es Line of Duty Investigation, que es una investigación en la línea de trabajo, donde se asigna un oficial, como dije anteriormente, para ver si de verdad fue negligencia del soldado o si de verdad fue un accidente que sucedió. Y aquí habló de los resultados que pueden suceder, y esto es basado en la investigación, y es que el soldado accionó propiamente y que no fue negligencia del soldado. La otra fue que no fue en la línea de trabajo, que fue fuera del trabajo o el soldado no estaba en duty, y la otra es básicamente que fue culpa del soldado. Y esos son los resultados que pueden suceder cuando se hace este tipo de investigación. Y básicamente estoy tratando de summarize, para hacerlo un poquito más rápido. También hablé de lo que era el Nexus Letter. ¿Qué es un Nexus Letter? Bueno, un Nexus Letter es cuando un médico escribe una carta de una condición que sucedió a un soldado y el soldado viene a un médico y dice, mire doctor, yo necesito que me escriba esta carta y que me la firme porque esta condición sucedió mientras yo estaba en servicio. Y estaba hablando que algunas veces es bien difícil que un doctor te firme esa carta porque algunas veces los soldados no tienen la documentación correcta para que ese médico determine que de verdad esa condición sucedió o ese accidente mientras estuviste en el servicio. Si usted tiene la documentación, no va a tener ningún problema. Pero también estaba hablando, si usted conoce una cadena de doctores que están dispuestos y están ayudando a soldados, es difícil y cada área geográfica es diferente. Si está en el área de Florida, me dejan saber para entonces hacer una conexión de un network, una cadena de contactos para entonces ayudarnos unos a otros. La letra de Nexus o la carta de Nexus se extiende al veterano para explicar la condición y conectarlo con el servicio. Esto es hecho nuevamente por un doctor y tiene que estar firmado por un doctor. ¿Para qué yo estoy hablando de estas cosas? Bueno, cuando el soldado se sale, tiene derecho a someter una reclamación de discapacidad. Muchos soldados no lo hacen o tienen la documentación correcta. Y por eso quiero hablar de esto, porque lo importante que es esto para que usted pueda someter tu reclamación de discapacidad. Le puedo ayudar con eso. Pero es importante que los soldados guarden su documentación médica y esta documentación, siempre se lo digo y reitero, tengan copia dura, envíeselo por email, escanéenlo, hagan lo que tienen que hacer, porque esto es la número uno razón que muchas solicitudes de discapacidad son negadas porque no hay propia documentación médica. Es bien importante que tengan esa documentación. Y básicamente eso es de lo que iba a hablar. También hablé de este website bien bueno aquí. Si lo necesitan, se la puedo enviar. Me pueden enviar un mensaje privado en mi website o por Facebook. Y esto habla aquí del procedimiento. También habla del procedimiento cuando un soldado es básicamente elegido para ser salido por condiciones médicas o un accidente que sucede. Y eso es otro procedimiento bien extenso. Y conozco a muchos soldados que han ido por esa ruta. Algunos pueden quedarse en servicio, le cambian el trabajo, o algunos deciden basado en el Medical Board o el panel que se hace de oficiales de decidir si el soldado se puede quedar o no, o cambiar de trabajo. Es un proceso extenuante y largo. Usualmente ahora está más rápido, lo voy a decir sinceramente, y también me he dado cuenta que las solicitudes de discapacidad de veteranos están siendo bien rápidas. Di un ejemplo rápido de un compañero de trabajo que ayudé. Él tuvo un accidente rapidito para decirle, cuando era artillero en la Guardia Nacional de Puerto Rico hace más de 10 años atrás, y estaban disparando el cañón, y cuando fueron a cerrar lo que se llama el breech, que es donde se cierra para poner la pólvora, yo era artillero también, puedo hablar de esos temas, y cuando fue a cerrar el breech, pues su dedo perdió la puntita del dedo, y él me pidió ayuda, yo lo ayudé, le dije, ¿tienes documentación médica? Me dijo, sí, la encontré. Cuando veo en la documentación estaba la forma 2173, todo lo hicieron por el libro, ahí estaba documentado, el doctor había firmado, le ayudó a someter la reclamación de discapacidad y le dieron 10% por ese accidente. Eso es lo importante de usted tener documentación médica. Si usted no tiene documentación médica, le va a hacer falta una carta de Nexus, le va a hacer falta lo que se dice en sworn statement o declaraciones juradas de personas que estuvieron allí con usted, y eso es un poquito más difícil. Eso básicamente es rapidito. De verdad que gracias por lo que se conectaron. Vamos a seguir, estoy tratando de hacer live todas las semanas con temas diferentes. También estoy envuelto en la iglesia, hago temas de de estudios bíblicos. Yo, hermano, yo hago de todo. Yo y mi esposa somos bien extrovertidos. Si yo le cambio la cámara, ya están las congas, yo toco percusión un poquito, mi esposa canta, si cambio la cámara para allá, mi esposa toca el piano, ella canta. Nosotros hacemos de todo. Nos gusta cocinar, nos gusta hacer muchas cosas. El punto es que no se detengan, siempre hagan cosas diferentes. Esto lo estamos haciendo para ayudar a los veteranos que de verdad necesitan ayuda. Hay mucha gente que necesita ayuda y no sabe el proceso. Para eso estoy aquí, para ayudarle. Le ofrezco mi servicio. Me quedan 5 años en conteo regresivo. No puedo esperar para retirarme completamente, porque vamos a hablar de unas cosas que usted ni se va a pensar que yo hice. Y eso es básicamente, lo dejo ahí para dejarlo en suspenso. Y eso es mi carrera civil. Y yo no hablo mucho de eso por muchas cuestiones, pero de eso después hablamos de eso, y de verdad quiero mantenerlo intrigado, pero vamos a ver unos temas bien interesantes después. Manténganme en sus oraciones, que de verdad Dios me proteja y me pueda retirar y tenga vigor y tenga salud para seguir hacia adelante. Buenas noches, de verdad que le doy muchas gracias por dejarme llegar a su hogar. Aquellos que sirvieron conmigo, Sir Camacho, de verdad que saludos, Sir. It was an honor to serve with you. De verdad que yo me disfruto siempre cuando puedo ayudar a la gente, siempre estoy a su orden. A todos aquellos que necesitan ayuda. NCOERs, que para eso fue que me llamó Morales ahorita, que cuando termine ahora tengo que ayudarlo. Estoy aquí para ayudarles y yo nunca cambio, hermano. Nuevamente, Dios me los bendiga, sigan adelante. Nunca digan que no pueden, Señor, sigan adelante. Usted tiene toda la conducta, usted tiene el valor, usted tiene la potencia para llegar muy lejos. No hay límites y con el Señor todo podemos. Sigamos adelante y nos veremos en el próximo live. Dios me los bendiga. Bye bye.